Well, Demetrious, if somebody was to just look at the scorecards, it would look like just another dominant victory for you, the best pound-for-pound fighter on the planet. But this was an incredibly entertaining fight, and you were in some tough positions early on. Can you talk about just, how you thought this fight played out versus your expectations and what it felt like in there?
Yeah, the first round was a little tough. Tim Elliott's a little crazy animal. The first round, when you have the guillotine and going for the guillotine, switch it to the Darce choke. I looked at Herb Dean and I was like, "Don't you stop it, dog. I'm good." And he goes, "No, I got you. I see you. You're fine." And just doing the hand fighting. And he was really, I mean, that's what people have to do. They got to try to get on me, smother me. When I had him in a clinch and he was throwing all those shots, just doing all this wild shit, it was just like, okay, it's fine. Dotson kind of did the same thing when we fought the second time, like hit me in the stomach, and I'm like, okay, it doesn't hurt. That's not doing anything. It's nothing really damaging. Other than that, there's nothing really in a fight where I was like, oh my God, this is actually gonna hurt or something. So, I mean, it might look worse, but all the stuff to the top of the head and the side of the head doesn't hurt.
Interesting. Obviously you and your trainer are known for working in tandem and being a great team. Can you talk about what were there any major key adjustments that were made between round one and on? Because, after that first round, you basically dominated the positioning. Yeah, absolutely.
Matt came back. He goes, okay, stop sticking your head where you need to, hand fight immediately, and pass guard. And then right in the beginning of the fight, when he went for the Kimura, I was throwing submissions out left and right. But that was the biggest adjustment, is that, okay, when you shoot, hand fight, pass guard, and start isolating the arm.
And I know that you ultimately just leave it up to the UFC to say who comes next, but here you are, you're inching up on the record of Anderson Silva. You've basically cleaned out the division. You did see Joseph Benavidez pick up a big win tonight. I mean, is there a name? Is it Joseph? Does that interest you? Is there any other name? I mean, what does make sense? Because they just had a reality show to find another competitor for you. Is there anything that makes sense to you?
Yeah, that Joseph and Henry Cedo fight. It was a close fight, man. I mean, I gave it almost a draw. I think that nut shot gave Joseph that split decision. But it's up to, the UFC. Sean Shelby did an amazing job grabbing, all the champions from other organizations to bring in the UFC. So Tim Elliott, he brought the fight, and I'm sure Sean Shelby has something up his sleeve, and my job is to go back to the gym and, coming off an LCL, grade 2 injury, get back in the gym. I'm going to let my knees heal, and we'll see what's next.
Congratulations, Demetrious. It seems like, tonight, and it's early, but a lot of people are like looking at this as like it was a tough fight for you, and yet, like John mentioned, the scorecards weren't that tough. Do you agree with that? I mean, before this narrative gets going and people talk about this fight more, like, what did you think? Was this one of, if not your toughest title defense?
When you look at it, the first round, yeah, it was tough. But after that, I made my adjustments, was able to take him down and out-grapple him. Sometimes, being the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, you can't just go out there and blow people out the water on the feet or in the clinch. You got to display all sides of mixed martial arts, and that's what I did tonight. He was a bigger guy, able to take him down. I had him in almost a choke, arm bar, straight arm lock. I felt the fight wasn't close. I felt the first round like he did a good job, but after that it was, you take away that guillotine or whatever, then all you have is just that stuff. And other than that, it was, just bumps and bruises on my forehead.
And when you're talking to Herb and telling him like I'm fine, did you know that there was no adjustment that he could make, that you were safe? It just probably looked bad. I mean,
yeah,
you knew early on.
Yeah, I looked at Herb and I was really like, I was looking at Herb in his face. I was like, I'm good. Don't worry about it. I'm good. I've been here before. I've been in tough situations when I fought Dotson the first time. He dropped me twice in the first round. I was like, okay, that's blood. I'm fine. Okay, what else are you going to do? It was a great first round for Tim Elliott. Then once I made my adjustments, it was downhill for him.
And then, your next fight will be with a lot of historical implications on the line. You're not a guy who, you would tie Anderson Silva, his streak?
Go on.
Okay. It looks like you were confused, like you didn't know what I was talking.
Yeah, I was a little confused, but go on.
I mean, you're not a guy who asks for anything specific, but do you have any ideas of where or when that historical fight should happen?
Oh, when I tie it?
Yeah.
Vegas. Always Vegas. I love Vegas.
Why is that?
Same time zone. Stuff's open. I'm about to go get some food, and it's 11:30 at night. I have no desire to fight in the East Coast. I don't feel like fighting at 1 o'clock in the morning. So I've always loved fighting in Vegas, and I'll choose Vegas on any place around the world.
I know when you were answering John's question, you kind of said, "Hey, your job is just go to the gym, get ready. Whoever they put in front of you, it's their job to find you somebody." Is there anything that excites you though, and is it important to have something that excites you, to have something out there that motivates you?
I'm a self-motivator. You know, I didn't get in this sport to become a world champion. I got in this sport to become a better mixed martial artist. And a long time ago, Matt might not remember this, Matt was like, if your goal is to become champion, you're lost. He goes, I can offer you way more than becoming a champion. I was like, interesting. Let me find out what this path leads me to. And this is basically the byproduct of me always learning, pushing myself, and want more for myself.
It might be tough to remember maybe specific things from the fight, but at the end of the fourth round, I think he did like a half cartwheel type kick at you right at the end of the round, and you just stepped back and gave him like a weird look. Do you remember that look and what you were thinking at that time?
I was like, oh, here's this bullshit. I was like, that's what I look at. Like, I mean, it's nothing against him or anything, but in my mind, like, you can't get caught up in that atmosphere when people are the fans are like, yeah, Tim, you're fucking slapping back in the head, you're doing all this. I'm just like, it's not doing anything. You're not crossing distance. You're turning your back sideways, and he's trying to get me caught up. And then at one point, you know, I got away from what I do well, is keep my rhythm. But then my coach was like, just dude, it's fine. He's doing that stuff because he can't, you know, cross a distance, throw the elbow, get the knees off. He has to do that stuff to get you there. So I was just like, that's fine. And then once I got him down, I was like, okay, pass guard. And then Herb Dean, I was in side control, and Herb Dean goes, you got to get out of there You got to get out of that position, DJ. And I was like, Herb, I'm in fucking side control, bruh. I was like, this is not checkers, this is chess. Tim needs to get up. Like, I'm on top, and he's holding me down, and you're telling me I need to move. I'm like, no, bruh, that's not how it works. So, other than me, I'm just focused. And when he did that, I was just like, so.
Demetrious, this is kind of a follow-up to that. Right before Tim left, he talked about how he wanted to make it a dirty fight, and he said, no, I'm not a martial artist, you know, I want to fight, it's a fist fight, and you're, you know, the epitome of a true martial artist. Do you think that since this was like a battle of philosophies in a lot of ways, that maybe you proved that the real martial artist way is the better way? I
would absolutely agree. I was able to neutralize him on the ground, not get caught up in that fist fight, and just take him down and basically manhandle him, the bigger dude, the taller dude. So that's what I went out there to do, and it worked out perfect.
You went for a large amount of submissions tonight, Demetrious. How much of it was, in terms of him ultimately eluding them, was his physicality, his size, and how much of it was maybe just the unorthodox style? You didn't seem to have a problem, you know, applying him or anything like that, but obviously that was part of what he was able to do to make this last as long as it did.
Yeah, I was going for the finish. I mean, I worked too damn hard in the gym to not go for finishes. So once he grabbed that Kimura, I was like, here comes the armbar. I went for it. And then once I had the guillotine, it's going for the guillotine, the choke. And I was just trying to finish. You know, I don't come in here and try to lay and pray and like, well, that's fine. No, I was trying to finish this man.
You know, this was an incredible night for the flyweight division. I mean, you retain your title, continue toward breaking Silva's record, but you also had an absolute war between two former opponents, the number 1 and the number 2 ranked flyweights, and an incredible underdog story like your opponent, and then also even Brandon Moreno, you know, on the earlier in the night, looking like a real up-and-comer. So as the goalkeeper of the division, do you look at that and like what you're seeing, not only for your own trajectory, but also the future of the division after a night like tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. I think those guys really showcase what the flyweight division is all about, you know, with Brandon Moreno, Joseph Benavidez, Henry Cejudo. I mean, not just those guys, but the whole entire show. I mean, people say these are probably the best fights that we've ever seen in a TUF 24. I think it just shows that when you actually go out there and get guys who are professional fighters and actually champions from different organizations, Titan, Legacy, Axis, or RFA, whatever they have, you're going to have a great group of guys. And look what the byproduct was. You had Tim Elliott, you know, getting there with me.
DJ, you said that Matt told you if your objective was to get the belt, then you're on the wrong path. And he'd show you the path. So when you get done with and go home tonight, is the belt that makes you happy, or what is it that you sit down and that satisfies you?
Oh, man. Being healthy, going home, and get back in the gym and continue to learn. Like, that's what's satisfying me. You know, I don't like to be injured. I always like to, you know, better my mind and just get better. I mean, the belt's cool. I mean, don't get me wrong, the belt's awesome and all that stuff, but I don't hang my head over that. Like, I like learning. I like understanding why this works and why this doesn't work, and how can I transfer energy from my body to do certain things.
Is part of that finding the right opponent to kind of stretch your ability? Do you feel like you need to find that person?
No, not at all. I mean, I felt tonight like I showed grittiness, making adjustments during the fight. I feel tonight after the first round, everything was dominant. Like, I fell on the ground. I was able to, Tim's tough. I mean, he fights, he likes to push. And I think sometimes as a champion, you need to have those fights so you can show that you can overcome certain things. If I went there and he just laid down like a dog and let me finish him or whatever, then I don't think that shows a lot of class. I can pull to these 5-round fights and I can show dominance and make adjustments and go back to my corner after first, crazy wild round. Matt's like, okay, this is what you got to do. You got to do, because not all my fights are going to be like that. I might have to, 4 rounds down, and I might come back and to the corner. Matt's like, all right, you got to go. You got to make the best adjustments. You got to get your shot and knock him out. So, I mean, I'm very satisfied with my performance tonight, and I think, after that first round, you guys heard the scorecards, 49-46. I mean, sounds like 4 out of 5 is pretty damn good if you ask me.